There we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Alternate Realities. So, this is a huge subject, like all of them are, but we're going to go into something more specific. So, alternate realities are like lucid dreaming, except you're in your awake state. So, that's really now seeing things in your awake state that maybe other people aren't seeing. We call it lucid living and instead of lucid dreaming because we're awake. So experiencing alternate realities is seeing people, things, and situations physically that most others would not normally see. It is seeing multi-dimensions at the same time. Some may see things that they think are there physically, turn, look again, and it's poof, gone, when just a moment ago it was totally there. Other times you might witness a situation that appeared to be happening, but it was really an illusion created by outer world beings meant to create chaotic reactions and sometimes retaliations. That gets pretty hairy. The more you expand your awareness and consciousness, the more these kinds of things happen. You start to understand the meaning of multidimensional living, alternate realities, and lucid living. Life becomes so much more interesting and sometimes more complicated. You have to be really intentional with your awareness and what you want to see in your reality when things start getting this open in your reality, basically. So join us as we discuss our experiences with living multidimensionally in these alternate realities of lucid living. And as usual, we will be doing our little free mini light activation healing readings. So make sure you stay all the way through this whole session and be in the chat room live for your chance to receive one. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for being here. I'm Cindy Eyler.
And I'm Homer Castillo, and I'm monitoring the chat room.
He always says that, but he doesn't
I know.
really doing that.
But I see you guys.
Because then I'll say, so Homer, was there any consequence? Let me look.
Because
Anyway.
I have to switch screens, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I noticed that sometimes like we're commenting in the chat, but depending on where you're watching this, you may not see us saying hi to you because I guess it doesn't go to every wherever I posted it on my Facebook, it should go to all those. But if I shared it,
so the YouTube people can't see the Facebook people.
Well, that too, but even on Facebook, it's not on every Facebook feed. So that this video is running. So it's kind of weird. So I want you guys to all know that we say hello to you. So yeah. Hello. Hi. Hello. So anyway, super glad you're here. This again, huge subject, but something that's so fascinating. And one thing that, as we have these talks, to share with you like these different little tidbits of things to really, show you how fascinating this universe is. And the more you kind of understand, I mean, there's so much that all of us don't understand. It's just so big, right? But the more you can get different perspectives, whether you believe them or not, it doesn't really matter. It's your choice. But the more you hear these different perspectives, it starts to open you up dimensionally to be more aware of, hey, I didn't even think of that. Like, wow, what's that possibility? So every time you come and you watch us, you're shifting and you're opening more and more of your dimensional doors. And it just gets really fascinating and exciting. However, the more you expand like this and the more your consciousness becomes bigger, then you start having so much more all-inclusive energies on a bigger scale. So you have to really be intentional about what you want to be experiencing or brought to your awareness, because as much as there's amazing, there's also stuff that you may not ever want to see. And being very intentional about what that is and keep your vibration in the state that you want it to be, because you have so much more access to seeing things. So I'll go back to, I've seen the spirit world, dead people specifically, since I was a little girl. And that was just something I grew up with. And I just thought that everybody saw that. And it was always scary to me and weird, because I would just see them walk in and they would do things to me sometimes. And it was really like, I didn't like it at all. But, at the same time, why was that what all I saw? Like, I wasn't seeing angels. I wasn't seeing, like, what was that last show we did, the suicide one, when I was saying,
suicide.
like, several of you were saying that you said when you were little, you were asking, why am I here?
Mhm.
Like, what am I doing here? And I was like, it never occurred to me there was anywhere else to be. And this is the person that was seeing dead people everywhere, walking around in different time periods of dead people as well. And no dead people. I didn't know any dead people, so I didn't know, like, I didn't know any of them. So if I could see that, if I was thinking, what was I doing here? I think I would not want to think that, because the only other place I would see that there would be with those dead people, and I certainly didn't want to be there. So I would never stop to think, to say, why am I here? It's like, thank God I'm here, because when I'm seeing that weird stuff, that would be the only other thing. But I wasn't even like really thinking that it was anything separate, and it's not. But it could be perceived as something different and separate. It's another reality that I was living. I was living my awake state, human, physical reality, and at the same time, totally tapped into the dead people reality that was going on around me, everywhere, all the time, like normal. Like, that's what happened. And so, and then the other thing was that I didn't ever bring it up to my mom, because she would scare the hell out of me, because she would tell me, oh, the devil was in my room last night. I was like, holy crap. Like, it's bad enough I'm seeing all these dead people. Why? I definitely don't want to see that. Like, it just seemed like all the stuff that wasn't physical was scary as hell. So going back to that question, I would never ask, why am I here? I was like, thank God I'm here, but who knows? So that's just an example of seeing, I was living those two very present realities. So let's see, let's break it down first. Like, what is a reality? And I just want to, before we go into it deeper, is like, everyone has a reality, and everybody's reality is different. There's not two people in this whole world that have the same exact reality. It's impossible, because our realities are built on what we come in with in our DNA, what we grow up with learning, the experiences around us, the people we hang out with, the way we think totally creates our reality. The actions that we take, the emotions that we feel the strongest, all of these things create how and define your reality. And then that goes along with dimensions. So Homer, what are dimensions?
Dimensions are different realities with different frequencies. It's like a vibration. So everything within a dimension has its own vibration, its own um, emotions,
So give
different
us
things.
some examples of different dimensions. I mean,
Well,
there's a million, but more than a
okay.
million. There's
Um,
infinite dimensions.
okay. Well, there's a galactic dimension I know of people that are just made up of thought. They don't have physical bodies whatsoever, just mental. It's a mental dimension. So it's just thought. They exist in pure thought.
Okay, so we're focusing on the physical today.
Hmm.
So we're talking about, there's lots of alternate realities. So
Hmm.
yes. Of
And there
course.
is one where a dimension is very heavy, like physically it feels heavy, and the people that reside there are heavier. Like I guess the term is dense, like heavy.
Are we talking humans?
Um, no,
Okay, so
not
let's start
humans.
at a human level so people can
Uh,
understand what we're talking about. We got
okay.
we got to start at home. And
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
dimensions are all kinds. So some dimensions, like I love flowers. So
Mhm.
obviously I have a lot of flowers around my house. I see a lot of flowers. I notice a lot of flowers. I notice a lot of beauty. Beauty is a dimension. Okay, killing is a dimension. And then there's all
Mhm.
I was talking to Homer, like, what are different ways that people not kill themselves, but it could be. Suicide is a dimension. Coma is a dimension. Um, certain illnesses is a dimension. Certain alcoholism is a dimension.
And
Uh,
even within those, there's like you could break it down to even more
right. That's
dimensions.
what I was saying. As far as like people who kill people, there's mass murders. There's I don't know what kind of killers are. There's all kinds of crazy
Mhm.
killers out there. And so they have all those dimensions and they kind of do their own thing because they kind of like it that way. Oh, I like to kill this way or I like to kill that way.
Mhm.
And so, but then they're probably very closely related. And like you can say there's a dimension for hate, but there's so many different kinds of hate. So
Mhm.
that goes, racism and the KKK, whatever, like all those things will have their own dimensions, but they might reside closely next to each other. So, as humans, we are exposed to a lot of things, even if we don't think about them. So, like, I don't think about a lot of things that I don't like, but it doesn't mean that I don't know that it's out there because there's people in my reality that focus on negative things or bad things
Yep.
or
Mhm.
that bring that to my closer to my reality. That's why it's important to know who you're hanging out with and
Mhm.
what their way of thinking is, because you may not really want to hang out with somebody. I mean, they might be a really nice person, but they're bringing their dimensions into yours, into
Totally agree.
reality. So you have to really think about that. Like if they really like some people can be really negative. Like every time you talk to them, it's woe is me. Like, oh, and this happened and that happened. And let's see, there was this woman who I was selling my bike. I think that was last year. And she came and, she just like, at first I was like, oh, what a nice lady. She had run into some hard times. She had just lost her job and she didn't, her car, she got in an accident. It got totaled and she needed this bike because she had a job interview the next day and you just feel so bad, right? Like, oh my gosh. And so all of these things she was saying, this happened and that happened within like 2 minutes of talking to her, right? So
Mhm.
here I am like giving her a discount on the bike. And then she has the nerve to say, oh, can I make payments? Of course, didn't want someone that was going to make payments on my bike. But then I felt bad for her. So I was like, oh, yes. And then she starts asking me for rides to places and asking me to, it was like nonstop. And I gave her a ride a couple of times. And every time she would say, oh, and then this happened. And now, they're trying to, bring me to court because of that. And, on and on and on. It was like nonstop. And then as I'm driving her, I see this truck coming in the lane to pass me coming towards us, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing this big piece of a tree and it starts to fall over off the truck and like it's going to hit my car. And I'm like, oh, like I totally saw it coming. And I just like totally moved out of the way. And I was like, this woman needs to get out of my car. And I'm never taking her anywhere because this is just like dangerous. I felt so bad for her, but everything that came out of her mouth was another thing and another thing. And by the time I drop her off, I just feel like so like almost doubled over sick because I couldn't even imagine having a life where everything was doom, 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 doom. So, I didn't even get paid for the rest of my bike. I was just like, I need her just to be out of my reality. Seriously. So, and some people aren't that bad, But if you notice that people, tend to always, I mean, we all have problems. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have problems. I mean, that's life. That's part of what we do. And that's how we grow, honestly. And that's how we start to know ourselves better and understand what we want more of. And it makes us grow and expand to something better. Hopefully that's, hopefully that's how it works in my reality. So you need those things, that contrast, to show you what you really don't want, so you can align better with what you want. So that is a gift. But at the same time, for me, I'm really picky about who I allow to be around me, because I don't need excess excess things, contrast. And everybody has their stuff, but when it's just totally out of balance, and those people just will create more and more and more of that, because that's their dimension of having just gloom and doom happening. Because
And you could feel it too. It's like, oh, I need to stay away.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, it's really important to know that, because you are going to have that in your space, and it will affect you.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait a minute. I just want to make sure I got these couple of things that before I go on to the next thing. Okay. So, what you participate in most, what you think about most, what bothers you the most will be the thing, because it's triggering, because it gets your attention. It really bothers you when you hear it. It's like a trigger point. Those kind of things will come around a lot, because that puts that energy of an emotion of, like, it's almost passion, even if it's not a great passion. It's something that gets your energy like, like, ugh. So it could be good, it could be exciting, or it could be something negative that really bugs you, your pet peeve. So you just have to remember that what you're going to allow yourself to feel are the realities that you're going to see. So that said, again, I'm going to repeat, the more open you are, the more awareness you have, the more expanded your consciousness is. And Homer, what are some ways that your energy opens, expands, and ways that your consciousness expands? What are some examples? Because there's many, but what are some examples?
Well, just working on yourself, healing yourself, it raises your vibration. And the
Mhm.
higher you go, the more you're able to see.
Mhm.
When you put your attention on um, higher dimensions, or um, higher feelings that make you feel good, then that's the vibration you will start to resonate with and reside in. And the higher you go, like what I said, the more you see, the more you understand.
Right. And so also, like with our spiritual journeys, because we're going all over the world, and we're doing it with the focus of our spiritual journey, which is our healing, moving through things. Like, a lot of times when we're going to go on these trips, we think that we're going to go work on something specific. It's never that. It's usually something else. I mean, it might be part of that, but then something else comes out of it.
Hmm.
And because the more open you are to amazing things happening, except for us, that's why we have all these amazing experiences happen. We meet the most cool, amazing people all over the world. I
Hmm.
mean, there's so many amazing people, and they can be just everyday people, but they're so amazing and so beautiful. And it's like, it's amazing. It's just, that's how the universe is set up to, what you think is the kind of people that are going to attract near you. So you may not know these people, but it had to happen, because you're in that frequency and they're in that frequency, and somehow the universe aligns you to have a rendezvous, meet up with them, and all, it's that connection. So that happens all the time. So every time we go into these other vibrational dimensions, so India has its own vibrational dimension, Egypt has its own, Peru has its own, Hawaii has its own. So they all have these different dimensions. We're meeting people in all different dimensions, on all different frequencies, And so it expands us every time we go do that. And so we have so many dimensions and expansions and realities that we naturally have because we have put ourselves in these experiences that we can really tap into a lot of different things that a lot of people may not if they just have not had those experiences. So in that case, it's also very important for us to keep our intentions about what we want to see and what we don't want to see. So when it comes to seeing alternate realities in the physical, we're talking about when something shows up in the physical that other people may not even see happening, but we see it because we have the expansion to include it, and somehow it popped into our reality.
I have a good
Okay.
example for that.
Okay.
So when we were in Egypt, and we had the pyramids right in front of us, it was in the evening. I was able to see a lot of orbs flying around the pyramids, and the woman next to me, she was, we had the same view, but she wasn't seeing anything at all. See, this is what happens when you raise your vibration and your consciousness. You're able to see things, and even though the person right next to you is seeing the same thing, they may not see the same thing.
Okay, so this goes even further, though. I don't even know. Is this the same story? When we were
It
at the
could be.
rooftop restaurant, and you were taking a picture of the pyramids,
Yeah, that was
and
it
your
too.
picture had a ton of
Yep.
orbs.
Hmm.
And this other, I think it was Lanny. I don't, or it was either Lee or Lanny.
Lee.
Anyway, she was standing there, and so she's not. She's religious, but she's actually it was my my ex's mother and father came. So they're not like into the spiritual stuff we are, and they don't have awareness of orbs, or in this case, we'll just say orbs. So she took the same picture and had no orbs. And it was like every picture Homer took had orbs, and every picture she took had no orbs. And so they were like fascinated. Lee and Lanny, they were fascinated, and they were looking and going, "Wow, like something's wrong with your pictures." First, if they thought something was wrong, we're like, "No, those are orbs." So we had to tell them what orbs were. And they're like, "What?" And so get this. So now they learned about orbs. We're going through I think we were there for, at that trip was like 14 or 15 days. I don't remember. And we get, probably halfway through the trip, and all of a sudden they're taking pictures. They're like, "Look, we got an orb." And they started to get orbs because they had the awareness of what one was, so it could show up in their pictures.
Mhm.
So, and then they were starting to get more orbs as the time would go on. So
Interesting looking ones too.
that's a really great. I forgot about that. That was so trippy. So that's like real physical proof that once they were able to bring that idea into their awareness, that all of a sudden they could also see it. But before that, they just thought something's wrong with your pictures. What are all those dots? So so that's really cool. So now they probably get them in they take a lot of pictures. They probably get them in their pictures. Now they know what that is.
It was brought into their awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And even though we were in the same place, in the same location, with the same people, they weren't in that expanded enough to or they, and not say if they weren't expanded, they might be, I don't know, but that was not something in their reality. It wasn't something, it was alternate. So that was really, really cool. And they were very fascinated. And you know what? If they weren't open to that, they probably wouldn't have ever gotten any orbs. But it was because they were like fascinated, like, what? Oh, what? Oh. So that was pretty cool. Homer, what about that story about you and your brother?
So I have the ability to take people into an alternate reality. I had several experiences doing that, and one was my brother. I took him into an alternate reality. It was during the holiday season. Well, Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, 2005, and it was at night. We were watching the midnight mass on TV, and he started to sneeze a little bit, and I said, "Do you want me to do a healing on you?" And he's kind of like mainstream. He said,
Kind of.
he
He's
sees aliens too, but he said, "Okay, go ahead." So, um, and this was before light activation, so I was able to um, work on his third eye, and I was doing my little thing on him, healing on him. All of a sudden, he started to shake just like that, and then he started to sound different, and he started to act different. And usually I ask people, "What is your name and where are you from? Or where are you currently?" So he would say his name. He would say, "I'm in, California." After he started to go in deep, I asked him the same question, "What is your name?" He said, "Tavius." And then I said,
is
"Where?"
that his real name? I
No.
mean, his name as your brother?
No, it's not. And then
Okay.
I said, "Where are you located?" He said, he's it was like part of the Roman Empire at that time. I forgot the name he said, but because I looked it up later, and it was part of the Roman Empire at that time. I said, "Okay, your name is Tavius. What are you?" He said, "I'm a general." And then all of a sudden, he was like panicking, and as if he was sinking into a mud pit. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I'm sinking." And then at the time, my countertop had tiles on there. It was like a home project my sister had done, and it was kind of a lousy project because he was able to like grab the tiles and take off all the tiles off the counter because he was in his reality sinking into that mud pit. And I said, "Okay, I think this healing session is over," because this was like a period of over an hour.
Wait,
And
wasn't he crawling on the floor too?
he was doing all of that. And every time I would ask, "Who are you?" and he kept saying Tavius, I said, "Oh no, he's going in deeper." Because I would do it on other people before, but it wouldn't last that long. And I would take them right back out. And I'm like, "Oh no."
I can imagine Homer freaking out like, "Oh
I
my
was
god."
freaking out, and I told, I said, "We need to bring him back. He's not coming back." So he would switch from this reality and into that Roman life reality. So he would see my dad, and he would say, "Dad," and then he would go back in and start to sing. And
Oh my
he's going all around the house trying to grab onto things while my sister is sitting down, mainstream also, just wondering what's going on. She was freaking out, but she didn't want to say anything. And my nieces and nephews were all like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And my mom and my dad were like, "We need to bring him back." So I said to his daughter, I said, "Yell at your daddy and tell him he needs to pick you up from school right now. Like, be very demanding because we need to bring him back." So this was over an hour. He was going deeper and deeper.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I'm like, "Okay, this is the last time I'm going to do this." And then, it worked because I said, "Yell at him, bring him back." And then that's what my niece did. She said, "Daddy, you were late picking me up. Pick me up now." And then slowly he was coming back, and he finally came back after an hour. And it was so chaotic during that Christmas Eve. And he had no recollection of what had happened. And at the time, we didn't have cell phones to videotape it. So everyone in the family saw it, even my sister, even my mainstream sister, although she will deny it. And my brother had no memory of it. So he was like, "What? That didn't happen." But
Wow.
you ask my nephews and nieces and my dad, and they will say, "Yep, it happened." Now that was in 2005, and I had never taken anyone. I call it interstellar tunneling. Um, I had stopped doing that.
You did that for someone on our Peru trip.
Oh, I did, right. Okay, so there was one more time after that, and that was it. That was in the Amazon. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, forgot about that.
Right. So, yeah, he was in that case, he was seeing the alternate reality.
Yes.
Homer and his family, what a lovely Christmas
It was
family
crazy.
gathering.
Yeah.
Um, we're seeing the reality of him experiencing a different reality in their reality.
And I had done that also at a party, at my aunt's party, and there were 3 younger people there, like in their 20s. And one by one, I was taking them into the tunnel. First, I'd ask them, "What is your name?" And one would say, "Susie." And, "Where do you live?" She would say, "I'm in Pittsburgh, California." And then 5 minutes into me working on her, I asked her the same question, "Who are you?" And she would say, "I don't know who I am." And I said, "Where are you?" "I don't know, but I see my angels." And then I just took her back. I was like, "Okay, she saw enough. Let me bring her back."
Homer's like, I'm not going to let these people go too
And
far.
one by one, because they knew what I could do, like, word got out at that party that, "Oh, you're a healer. Can you work on me?" And I did. So one by one, each of the young 3 kids, they were going in, and years later, I would bump into them around town, and they would say, "I will never forget that evening."
Wow.
They would say, I met my angels for the first time. I've seen a different reality, a different world because of what you had done."
Right.
I said, "That's cool. What was your name again?" Because I would
Oh my God.
forget.
So another one is this is kind of, oh, I'd say common, but probably not to most people. So if you know of Mount Shasta in California, the underground people.
Oh, yeah.
So in the inner earth, there's a civilization. But the cool thing about them is they also have the ability to come up on to the ground level of earth and interact in a physical body. And we have seen them
Mhm.
several times. And so that's really cool because they have to, they must, they're, how they get from the physical dimension down into the inner earth, because it's not like you just go through a door and go into the inner earth. That's,
It's like an interdimensional door.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to know what you're
It's a
doing.
different kind of door. Yeah.
Right. And so the first time we saw one, was that on when we were in Muir Woods on our hike? Well,
That
I
was
saw
one,
one
but
before
yeah,
that.
you saw one before that, and I met 2 at the New Living Expo.
Right. And then we saw one at the same time when we were hiking in Muir Woods with a group of people.
Yes.
And it's so interesting because they'll look like a normal person, but you know when it's an underground person because they have certain qualities, and then they're doing things that like most
Mhm.
people wouldn't be able to do.
And the vibration, you could feel it. Like something is different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's really cool when that happens. So I saw it twice in Muirwood. So I saw it once with this woman who came to take one of my healing classes. She lived, I want to say, in Wisconsin. So we went after the class. We went and had a hike in Muir Woods, and this one came running by us. I mean, how they could run the way they were running was like, there is no way. It was muddy. It was because I guess it was probably around winter time because it had been raining. And it was like literally when you would walk on the path, sometimes I'd have to like hold on to a tree and like kind of leverage myself to get my footing on the path to get through the path. It wasn't like you could just walk and it was muddy. No, it was like some of it was washed away and there was just roots of trees. It was really slippery. And we were talking and all of a sudden we hear someone running, and it was also coming down, and it was not the regular on the beaten track path. It was like an off the path path. And we hear this running, and it was fast, and it was coming consistent. Like there was no kind of break in the run because it was such a difficult path even to walk on. Like somebody would run like that, you're going to fall flat on your face. There's just like, no way. And so we heard it, and all of a sudden we stopped to get out of the way because the path was, small. And we stopped and we were looking to see, and this man came running by, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like she knew because I told her about different things, and we were like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then the other time, another one, they like to run. So the other one was running up Muir Woods when we were coming around
and we were actually talking about the underground people at that moment.
Yeah.
And this guy, so we were going downhill and we were tired. We're like, tired. And here we hear someone running up the hill nonstop, just like, and he was an older gentleman.
Older man. And we were just like, okay, we were just talking about that. And here comes one running by. So,
and he disappeared quick too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as fast as they come in is as fast as they depart out of the site too. Mm-hmm. So that was another one.
And the Expo too.
Yeah, I didn't see them at the Expo, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
And then I know one time I was in Hawaii, and I was sitting on the beach in Waikiki, and I was by myself. I wasn't there by myself, but I happened to be on the beach by myself, and I had my headphones in, listening to music. And I had been laying back with my eyes closed, but I sat up and I was sitting there, and this man comes, and I see him walking across, and then he stops like right in front of me, and he smiles, and he kind of, bows like, hello, like that. He didn't say hello. He just smiled and went like that. And he was wearing one of those kind of rice hats. And I was like, oh, like he looks like a nice old guy, And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, he reminds me of my grandfather. And then all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, that was my grandfather. I turned and looked, and he's gone, totally gone. And it was like, oh, he looks like my grandfather. That totally was my grandfather. Like everything about him. And that was so freaky because it was like totally physical. And
he had already passed away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was deceased. And, he took his time. It wasn't like because there's times when I see something flash into the physical, when I'll see an actual, like Archangel Michael show up in the physical, and it's usually very fast. But I saw him walking, not far, like he was just coming by me. And then he stopped, and he smiled, and he bowed at me. And then I was like, oh, and when I realized that is my grandfather, I looked, and he was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he used to be in the military, and he'd be in Hawaii many times in that area. So it was interesting that he showed up in that dimension, that reality at that time.
Didn't you see Archangel San
Do they look like? I saw Archangel Metatron in the physical,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he really stayed for quite some time. I mean, it wasn't a flash in and a flash out, because a lot of times when you see angels, it's because you're matching their vibration, and then you can see them appear in the physical, because I can see them clairvoyantly. So Homer and I can see a lot of things clairvoyantly. But we're talking about physical alternate realities interacting in our reality. So experiencing alternate realities within our reality. And one time I went to sleep, and I was really worried about something. This was many years ago. I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that. And I woke up, and when I looked, it was in the middle of the night, and there was a huge white glowing archangel with wings completely outspread. It was his wings were as longer than my bed. That's how big he was. And looked at it, I saw it, and then I closed my eyes and I opened my eyes again to like, am I seeing that? And it was still there. And he said, don't worry. Everything is going to be okay. Don't worry. And I said, oh, thank you. And then I could kick myself. Because what did I do? Like, if an angel is showing up like that, don't you like, well, let's have a conversation or something? No. He said, don't worry. And I said, okay. And I went back to sleep. What a dummy. Like, I never saw that again. And it was to go back to sleep. Like, that is crazy. So, but that's probably all I was meant to. That was probably all I was meant to experience at the time.
I do have another story too.
And who knows, maybe, he just put me back to sleep. So
That's
it was,
true.
and that was Archangel Metatron. That was so gorgeous, so amazing. But I was like, open my eyes and I just see, it was like the most, wow.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. If you can imagine the most beautiful, white, glowing, huge archangel standing next to your bed. And just like, I looked at it, I was like, am I seeing things? Closed my eyes, open my eyes. Oh, it's still here.
And then you went back to sleep.
Yeah. So I know you have a story, Homer, but I'm going to segue into another one. So back then, I really wanted to see my spirit guide. And I used to always ask to see my spirit guide. And I would, when I would go to bed every night, I would close my eyes and I could see fairies in my mind's eye. So what they looked like was, it would be like, black because my eyes were closed, but they look like little white dots. And I could see them like just jumping around. And I knew that they were showing me fairies. So the first time I saw that was actually in Laguna Beach, because there was a lot of fairies in Laguna Beach. It's very magical there. Like that place is so magical. I remember sitting on a rock and one morning, and a dolphin came right up in front of me, right there, right where the water, is breaking on the sand, like that close. And he just came like that. It's so magical. Like, it is so magical. And in my book, Dead People in My Life, I showed it to you guys in the last. I should tell you, I forgot to tell you one of the stories about this book, but I talk about that situation in Laguna Beach with the dolphin and all that. Oh no, the fairies. I think I probably talked about the dolphin, but I had a fairy experience there, a real big fairy experience. But that was the first time I saw them in my mind's eye. So I would see that at night. And then, I used to take time to work with an archangel and an ascended master for like 3 months at a time to really get to know their energy, to get messages from them, to become friends, like to have a stronger bond with them. So I really did work on working with different ascended masters and different angels every, 3 months. I would just give them 3 months each to work with them. So with the ascended masters at that time, I would see those fairies, but then I would always see these ascended masters come into my awareness too. So again, this is with my eyes closed. I'm totally awake. And I would be shown, it would happen every night. It was so cool. So the faces of ascended masters, they would like come in and they would like come close to me, and then they'd turn and go away. And then another one would come in, turn and go away. So they were like showing me faces of ascended masters so I could get to know like, oh, but I didn't know who was which one. I mean, I knew some of them, but a lot of them they were showing me, I didn't know. And then there was one that came and it came to my face, and then they brought the focus just down to the nose and the mouth. I said, ooh, he has a weird nose and mouth. That's a weird looking nose and mouth. Like, why are they showing that to me like that? Right. So anyway, there's a whole story with that. But at one time I was like in my meditation, I was like, I really want to see my spirit guide. I really want to see my spirit guide in the physical. I really want to see my spirit guide. And I would always ask, I really want to see my spirit guide in the physical. So one night I'm laying there and all of a sudden I knew that I was going to see my spirit guide in the physical. So I was like laying there, and usually I'm like, I really want to see it. And then I knew, oh my gosh, they're trying to get me to open my eyes to see my spirit guide. And I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see it. Like, and I was trying to keep my eyes closed, and I was like trying to keep them so close. I did not want to see them. And they're trying to pry my eyes open. And I'm like, no, like I was like, oh my gosh, I was really freaking out. I'm trying to keep them closed, and they're trying to pry them open. And finally, like they win, and my eyes go to open. I'm like, ah! I scream. So of course they're not going to show it to me, because that would be obviously I was like showing I was scared to see it. And they're like, oh my gosh, like you've been asking this. We're finally going to show you. And now you're going to be scared and scream, like, totally laughing. And that was just like so silly. And
I always love that story. Yeah.
that is just so funny. I mean, I loved when I was like back in those days of, really starting to see things and understand things on those levels, but some really funny things. Okay, Homer, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so it wasn't my own experience, but it was my brother, because he told me years later. I mean, he says he's not intuitive or psychic, but I think he is. He just wants to be mainstream. But he was in the Marines at boot camp at the time. So it was late at night, and then he told me he saw some guy go peek his head outside of the wall, and then all of a sudden, and then the guy would look around and then proceed to the next wall and walk right through. And it wasn't a human, it was a blue person with bluish eyes, blonde hair. And I said, oh, I mean, this was years later. I said, you saw Tolanke Village. He said, what? That's it. But he got really scared because he was the only one that saw it, like physically see it, someone walking through the wall. And he panicked, and everyone else was asleep in the barracks. He started to put on his combat uniforms and arm himself with his gun and everything. And everyone there woke up and said, what's going on? And my brother said, I just saw a guy walk through the wall. And no one saw the guy, and only my brother saw it at that evening. But they would always tease my brother about that situation. So he saw things, different reality.
Right. How about your dad? A lot of strange alternate reality people show up for him too. Like when we
Yeah.
were at Expo, and that guy that came up to him and gave him that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. He called it a healing stone or something. Yeah, my dad said there was a stranger that walked up. He said, I want to give you this healing stone. Use it for the pyramid. And then the guy disappeared. I
Yeah,
mean,
there
he
you
didn't
go.
disappear right in front of my dad, but my dad said all of a sudden he came and went.
Right. And then doesn't your dad get objects that you don't even know where he got it?
Yeah, like we have this alarm in the backyard that he uses for intruders if we have intruders. But it sounds like a cow and a dog and a horse. I don't know where we got that from. But like when he would sound the alarm, it would sound like a dog. And I said, when did we get a dog? Or it would sound like a cow. And I said, did we just get a cow? Or a horse? He said, no, this is the alarm that I have. I said, where did you even get this?
Right. Because,
Yeah,
his dad can't go get things himself. So Homer knows what his dad is buying. And
yeah.
then he'll just have these things show up that he's like, where did you get that? Like they just come from somewhere.
And we're also working on a new pyramid, and he's coming up with these tools and other things to add to the pyramid. And I said, when did we even get this? Like, okay, we're going to add it there, but where was that?
Exactly. And you know that those things are being placed for him.
Yeah, and we use copper wire for the pyramid. And this morning he brought a lot of copper wire into the dining room table to wind it, like a spool. He said, we're going to use this for the pyramid. I said, I didn't even know we had this much wire.
It probably just manifested itself.
Yeah. And he would have like a special tool to create this or that. And I don't know where he gets that.
And
Well,
it's
of
so
course.
funny. Homer's like, I don't know where he's getting these things. So, and that stuff happens with his dad all the time. His
Yeah, and my
father's
mom too.
he's
Yeah.
very hooked up in that way to of weird things happening. But he
Mhm.
just like I don't my sense with your dad is he might see it. He doesn't even think like where did that come from? Of
I
course it
know.
he sees it. And
Exactly.
he's gonna figure out something with it.
And also when I was young, my mom saw her mom because my mom's mom, my grandmother, died when my mom was about 5 years old. So she didn't really know her mom. And of course, I didn't know her mom, but there was one time in the early 80s when we both saw my grandmother walking in the hallway. So, like, I was asleep, and then I heard my mom crying, and like she was reaching out, trying to, hug her mom. And I was like, "What's going on?" She said, "I see my mom." And then all of a sudden, I see her too. I said, "Did she have long hair? And was she carrying a rosary?" She said, "Yeah, that's your grandmother."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at my mom and I see totally my grandfather's in her, like because her expression, her face will look exactly like him. She'll be laughing like him. She'll be talking like him and acting like him. And I'm like, oh, grandpa, come on.
But yeah,
I,
I would get that too.
you
Like I would
know,
look at a person and then their face would kind of change
right,
because there was one person in the meditation circle that Cindy used to have. He was bald. I mean, yeah, at the time he was bald, but every time I looked at him, I would see his face change, but it would be where he looked younger with hair. So it
right,
would go back and forth. It was like alternate realities going on.
right.
Yeah.
And he probably had no idea, but we could see it. So,
Yeah.
imagine how we might see things like the people look in their normal way, but we'll be shown things about them
Yeah.
in the physical. Like I've seen some people where I'm like, oh, that's so and so, and all of a sudden they turn into like an octopus or something. So I know that there's like, whoa, what's happening there?
Mhm.
And so now I want to touch a little bit on this other thing because this is really important for people to know. So there are beings that will come here and cause illusions to happen to start chaos and retaliation situations. And so a common one is there's portals everywhere, but there's some pretty intense portals in the Middle
Mhm.
East. And so there's some kind of low energies that will come in and do things like, so this is an example. Say that, because this is like pretty common. I mean, I don't want to say that, but you probably heard about this at some point. So say like in Israel, somebody, all of a sudden there's a bus that explodes because there's a bomb on there. Someone that what do they call those people that do the bombing where
The
they'll blow
terror
up? Huh?
terrorists or
Yeah, but what do they call that?
oh,
Where they'll
mm,
sacrifice themselves to sit on a bus and blow it up, or they'll just blow up the bus, whatever way, however
yeah,
way. So
mhm,
there'll be people that will witness a bus blowing up, but it's an illusion. Like it didn't really happen, but they can set it up to look like there was a physical bus and it just blew up. Okay. So, of course, they would probably think their way of thinking is, oh, it's probably the Palestinians. So they're going to go retaliate on the Palestinians because they just blew up their bus, whether they thought it or not. But that's usually how they would think because that's how they react to each other all the time, right? One does one thing to them and then the other one retaliates and the other one does something and they retaliate. But how much of that is illusion? Because I know that there is a lot of it that is illusion. So they set that kind of thing up. And so that way these beings start the reaction to go attack the Palestinians. And so the Palestinians had nothing to do with it, but now they're getting attacked for it. So there's a lot of things like that that happen where it is completely an illusion set up to start chaos and to spread hate, because there's a lot of beings that get off on that. They get off on using the human race as pawns and to do those kind of really nasty things. And then there's also beings that will just talk through people. So they could be people, everyday people, that all of a sudden they're just starting some problems and being like, sometimes really you might look at them like, why are they being so irrational right now? Or they might just freak out and do something that's totally irrational or inappropriate or just like really off the wall. But some being is working through them. Or these beings may not like people with a higher vibration, or a being that, people might not like things that we do. So there might be people that are attacking towards us because it's easy. If somebody tends to be kind of think negatively and stuff, it's easy for those beings to get in them and work through them. It's easy. And if they can find a human body to work through, and it's easy, they're going to take advantage of that, especially if they can get to people that they're trying to bring down in the process. So, there's times where people attack us and say stuff that is like, why would you even do that? Like, what is that? Or be really mean and say really hurtful things to us. And I know that they've got beings that are speaking through them and telling them, oh, they're bad. Oh, you look how they're acting. Oh, look, and convincing them of how, they want that person to think about us. So that person buys totally into it because that's their way of thinking anyway. So it's super easy to convince them. And then they just start, attacking and saying things and hating on you just because they're a negative person. So that kind of stuff can happen too. So just know when you're on your personal growth, like say you're doing really well, like you feel good, you're having a good attitude, you're really staying on point with the way you do your best to feel your best, to perceive the best, to see your blessings, to be grateful, to be thankful. And when you're in that vibe where you're feeling so good, there's always going to be someone that comes in to try to yank you down or try to engage you to get pissed off, to lower your vibration because you bought into their negative reality. Okay. That's why you have to choose not to do that. That's why you have to say, wow, whatever bus you just got off, I ain't staying at that bus stop because I don't want to have anything to do with that, period. Like, it's like, no, I'm not going there. You don't have to choose to engage in it. So sometimes illusions are set up that look completely real, but they're not. And they just start a lot of chaos and everybody's just reacting. And that's why it's really important for you to understand where you want to vibrate, what you want to feel like every day, what feels good to you, what do you want in your life, what's your motivation for doing your best to feel your best, even when times you're not going to feel your best, but say, you know what, I know I'm feeling crappy today. What's going on with me? I want to get back to that feel good place. Like, you don't have to choose to stay in a crappy place. You don't have to choose to buy into somebody's negativity that comes your way. You can choose to say, no, I'm not liking this and I'm going to just go step out of this and go back to my bliss. And because that's not worth my attention or my vibration, because it's going to take me further away from what I want. And that person isn't worth it, because if they're trying to do that to you, they're just taking, they're doing the work of the dark, So Homer, what about conspiracy theories? There's some, I don't want to say, I'm not one of those people that say all conspiracy theories are BS. There's some things that I do agree with, but there's a lot of things that I just see people like, okay, let me just skip to the end. of that before Homer goes into it. You know, all of these, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, that's going to happen. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, that's going to happen. These people that are just so bought into it. And then none of those things ever happen. But yet they still going to keep believing it and still keep talking about it. And it's always negative. Well, not always negative. It depends. It depends on your perspective. There's always a good guy and a bad guy. It's always going to be good and bad, you know, drama. It's always going to be some kind of drama. For sure. There's always a winner and there's always a loser. There's always a good guy. There's always a bad guy. There's always a positive for one. There's always a negative for the other. And then, you know, you hear, oh, this is going to happen. You just wait. It's going to happen. And then it never happens. So how many times does it never have to happen for you to realize, why am I getting caught up in this crap? Because as long as you're in that duality, and yes, there's this, we live in a duality universe until we can create something better. But most times there is a duality. So when you're engaging in a complete duality where it's always a fight against the good and the bad, and there's always a winner and loser, you know, I'm all about, I want everybody to win. I don't, you know, I just want everybody to win. That's how I like to look at things. I don't think there's a good guy and a bad guy. I think people don't make great choices, but that's their reality and what they're going to deal with. But how many times do you have to buy into this conspiracy theory of you know this is going to happen because somebody named so-and-so is saying it, but then it never happens. And nobody even knows who that so-and-so is, but they'll believe it's this person. It's for sure this person. You don't know. All of these theories are just theories. There's no proof of anything. I don't care what anybody. Oh, my sources. My sources know. And my sources. Yeah, right. Okay. So how come it never comes true? So my point is, how many times do you have to see that it's not coming true to understand that most times is never going to come true? So why are you getting caught up in that? So Homer, go ahead.
Well, I mean, there are groups that I know of that always, well, not all the time, but lately it's been a lot about this conspiracy and that conspiracy. And just like what you said, so-and-so did this, or there's going to be something in 2 months where this is going to happen and that's going to happen. The thing is, there are many dimensions. There's like the problem dimension, there's a solution dimension, or a lower vibrational dimension, higher vibrational dimension. The more they focus on that, the more they feed it, because energy follows thought. So once you think about it, it's going to be created. So even for them to get this information from their source, it would be nice if they ask, what spiritual level is this source coming from?
Right.
Because yes, it is information, but it may be information on that certain dimension. Now, is it a dimension that resonates with you? I don't know. For me, if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't resonate for me. It's not my truth. Maybe it's their truth. So, and the thing is, I'm not about to change anyone's truth, because they are on their own truth and to find their own truth. And if they feel that that's true, then it's like, okay, if that's your truth, but it's not mine. Like, you could share me the link or tell me about this, but I don't have to feed that thought.
Right.
But instead, what I can do is create the opposite. So if they're going to say this explosion is going to happen, well, in my universe, in my reality, I'm going to create an alternate reality where no, there is no explosion. There is peace. There is whatever higher vibration dimension. And I'm going to feed that. I'm not going to focus on the other thing.
Right. From hearsay.
Yeah. So I don't jump on the
Hearsay.
bandwagon, you know.
Not only hearsay, but hearsay of sources that you don't even know who is their source. Like, why would you buy into it hook, line, and sinker where there's these sources that you don't even know who's the source, or who's someone who's calling themselves a certain thing, and then you don't really know who that is? Because there's a lot of people out there and beings out there that are injecting these ideas into your head to try to get you to think this way. And you buy into it. There's so many of them buying into it. And it could totally be some being that's working through someone just cracking up, watching and it's so funny because you hear them saying like, oh, I'm woke, or I'm, like they're beyond above other people and all that stuff. And it's like, really? Like, I mean, they might be, they might not be. But my point is, you don't even know where you're getting your information from. You're only believing what those people are telling you, but the proof is in the pudding. When did it come true?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Is that how you say it? Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's like whatever, sometimes you don't believe everything on there. Just
Right.
because it's on there, it doesn't mean it's true.
Right. Oh, and I
So,
don't believe a
yeah.
lot of theories of the things that people say about Egypt, because
Mm-hmm.
who really knows? And so, people have theories, people, have ideas. And so then they make it like that's the true reality, that idea, but they weren't there to find out. They didn't find it to find out, and one time Homer was like, I don't know who to believe. I said, your intuition, Homer. That's who
Yeah.
you believe. And ask for your own information,
Yeah.
and ask from your highest sources.
Because everyone's truth is different.
Exactly.
So you have to rely on what you feel.
Right. So if it doesn't feel good, I would, choose something that feels better. And I'm not saying that all conspiracy theories are wrong. I would never say that. There's some things that I actually do believe, but nothing on hearsay, he say, who we don't even know who's saying what. But
Yeah.
I am noticing that a lot of it doesn't happen.
I mean, it brings it to my attention, whatever the issue is, but it helps me to create the opposite.
Well,
Like,
it's kind
okay,
of funny because usually when you hear that stuff, it's it's always, somebody's going to win, someone's going to lose, and it's kind of like a negative. To me, it feels low energy. And
mhm.
I'd be like, don't even bring that to me, because I don't even want to know. Like, I don't want to even be a part of that. But a lot of those people will be the people that keep trying to force it down your throat. Like, even
Yeah,
though you tell them, I don't want to hear that, here they are sending you a link. Here they are trying to prove it with some link. It's like, you sending me this link of this guy, and I think this guy is like I would not trust him with getting me, well, maybe a cup of tea, but I wouldn't trust him with anything valuable information, because that person never pans out. Like, it's just not even my reality. But it's funny because with my guidance, with my, the guidance I get, there's certain people that I just cannot know even about the person. Like, they'll say, like, do you know so and so? I'll be like, no. Oh, you heard of so and so? No. Like, I don't know a lot of whoever these people are, because I can't read their books. I can't know about them. My guides keep me very specific on what I'm focusing on. They don't want me to even, I couldn't even read Sylvia Brown's books. I couldn't even read those. I mean, I would go read those back in the day, and I could never read. There's certain things that my guys just were like, no, you're not
me
going to read
too.
that. Not that she had anything bad to say. I mean,
Yeah,
I saw her on the Maury Povich. No, which
Montel
one?
Williams. Montel Williams.
Montel.
I have a lot
Let's
of her
not get
books too.
started on
I
that.
still
But
haven't read any.
anyway, like, there's a lot of different people, like, I cannot even read their stuff. So it's not that I think they're bad, it's just that's not for me. And I get all my information
Direct.
direct. I don't go to people and get my information from them. I get everything I know, it was given to me.
And the thing
So
is, they may keep that dimension open. Like if it's the problem, they will keep that dimension open as long as they even just think about it. As
right.
long
So
as there's
yeah,
a thought.
Homer. So we talked about this in my Cindy's Insiders Club.
Hmm.
This is just a good point for everybody to think about. So, Homer, when would anything be completely gone, like cease to exist in our world, in our physical reality that we all are interacting in? when would anything, it doesn't matter what it is, from small to big, how would it ever cease to exist? So, anybody
Yeah.
who is for some kind of a um, situation, like, I don't know, whatever, animal cruelty or, whatever, it doesn't matter. Even like, when would the thought, a pen cease to exist? It doesn't matter. A group of people, anything, a certain animal, when would it cease to exist?
As long as there is a thought with that, it will still exist and that dimension will still be open.
Right.
So when all the thoughts are gone, um, when
Memories,
memories,
thoughts, anything written.
that dimension will close.
So it's highly unlikely, unless everybody ascends into the next dimension, but it doesn't mean it left. It just means that maybe it wouldn't be part of your reality.
Yeah. So if people keep that open, well, that dimension will be there. But do you want to stay there? Like for me, and I'm sure with Cindy too. No, let's move to the higher dimension.
Right.
We don't have to go there.
Right. So as long as, like, when somebody said to me the other day, like, when are the angels going to come and wipe that out, wipe those people out? And I'm like, never. And he's like, what do you mean never? That's not what I heard. They're going to come here and wipe those people out because they're bad. And I said, in your perspective, they're bad. Maybe in their perspective, they're not bad. Maybe in their perspective, they are bad. Doesn't matter. The point is they exist in this existence. And as long as there's a thought of them, a memory of them, that vibration is always going to be there. Okay. And this earth is a playground for us to learn. So there is everything here. Okay. So not the person, but the energy that sees all of it is the highest vibrating energy. So what that is, whatever it is to you, universe, divine, God, creator, whatever that is to you, that's the energy that can see everything, because it is all that is. Okay. We can't see everything. We can see a lot because of our experiences and places we go and the experiences that we open ourselves to, but certainly not that much. I mean, just probably that much compared to the higher divine energy. So as long as it exists, but you have to now choose where you're going to exist.
Yeah.
Just because it exists doesn't mean you have to exist with it if you don't want to. And the more you practice, or you're really intentional and really aware every day of where you want to exist. And guess what? You can change your existence every day if you want. If you don't like your experience, you don't like what's going on in your experience, in your existence, in your reality, you can change it that day. You can say, you know what? I'm going to shift my paradigm. I want to see a lot more love. I want to be a lot healthier. I'm ready to be around really supportive people. I'm ready to see a lot of more beauty. And this is where I'm going to exist. And when you start being really intentional, when you say it, it shifts in. It shifts in. Now, you may not see it right away when you're sitting there saying it, but guess what? Everything has to start as an energy first before it can manifest into the material world around you. What did I tell you last segment, in the suicide segment? You have to get it in order inside to see it around you on the outside. So if what you're seeing around you on the outside ain't working for you, guess what? You can change that immediately by being intentional about what it is that you choose to see and be, and then you take action to match that every day. And pretty soon you'll be doing that. Like where I live, it's just amazing to me. Every time I go for my daily walks, whether I'm at the beach or going along the river, it's just like I can't stop seeing how beautiful it is. I've seen it a million times. I've taken pictures of it a million times. It's just so beautiful. And the sky is every night pink and blue. And those are my favorite colors. And I always say, when I manifested to live here, that was an extra bonus that God gave me because God knew I loved pink and blue. Did I think to ask for pink and blue sunsets every night? No. But do I see that? And every time the pink comes in, it just, everything's pink. The whole ocean is pink. The sand's pink. I'm pink. And it's like, oh, we're all being drenched in love energy again. So every night we get to be drenched in love energy. And it's just, the blue is so celestial and so cosmic and so magical. And it's like that was the cherry and the icing on top that I forgot to ask for. But guess what? I always say this or better. And so I got that. And so whenever I know that I want to shift things in my life, I go to the beach and I go and I sit there, and my highest power is God. And I sit there and I walk and I say, oh, just be more, let me be more of you, and feel the expanse and shift my world and include this or that. Like I have that discussion. And I really like the, well, I'll go into that later, but there's certain things that I say and I do, and it will always cause a shift. Always. Like of course, I'm just in the middle of discussing it when I'm doing that. So I'm not seeing it there, but I'm feeling like amazing just having this discussion about how I want to shift things. And then boom, it happens. So it gets to a point where it gets really fun when you start to really be really intentional and conscious about your intentions and what you want for yourself, and really stay in integrity with it the best you can. And of course, there's days that we do better, days that we don't do so good. I'm not perfect every day, but I know when I'm not being as perfect as I need to be, I am aware of it and I do my best to shift back. So it's always that, oh, I'm flying high right now, but then I take that dip. It's like, oh, I want to get back up here because it feels so much better. So if you're willing to ride that wave, and it's a really good wave, you can create so many amazing things in your reality.
Especially when you feel so connected.
Right.
You never lose the connection. It's always there. But when you strengthen the connection and you live, the universe, God, the universe creator is like infused in you. And whatever you're doing, you're just, infused with all that light and love. And it's just beautiful.
And then you just, like what I was talking about, all the places we travel, we meet so many amazing people and have these heartfelt connections with them. And imagine the love that we're creating by interacting with just the different parts of the world and the people that we have these soul connections with, these heart connections with, and being able to like even continue to, correspond with them. Thank goodness for,
Facebook
and Instagram, and, being able to have these relationships. Like, okay, there's sadhus in India. So these are the, holy men. And when we were going to go, not the first time I went, but the second time I was leading a spiritual journey there. And one of the things I really set the intention was I really wanted us to be able to interact with the sadhu. And we're not imposing people. Like we don't try to just like, oh, there's some, let's go get in there. Right. We want it to happen natural. And, if it's good for them, we want it to happen. It's good for us when it happens. But I was like, I'd really like to do that. And when we were in Varanasi, I remember when we got up early and went down on a boat ride at, before the sun came up, and they were doing their morning cleansing and prayers. Is such an amazing thing. But when we came back, we were coming up the stairs and we're like, oh, look, like we could see different sadhus and everything. And it was like, well, we wouldn't just go up there and start talking. We didn't even know, like, what do? You don't just want to go up there and approach them. So we were just walking by, and so this is how the universe works. Some younger boys came up and they loved Biz and Clock's muscles. So you guys know Biz and Clock, if you watch these segments, they've been on a few times. They've got big muscles. So they always wanted to take pictures of their muscles, and they're like, oh, you look really good. And so we were busy talking to them. We totally forgot about the sadhus because we're just talking to these people. And all of a sudden, the sadhus come in and they're standing with us talking to us. We're like, oh my gosh, like they're right there. So I'm like, Biz, do some push-ups or something, because they all liked his muscles. And he's like, no, I said, do it. They'll love it. Just get down and do some push-ups, or like do something. And so finally he just gets down and he starts doing push-ups. And then one of the sadhus gets down. He's doing push-ups. And then there was like 4 and Homer got down there and Clock got, and now we have like this whole crowd of these sadhus and these other people, and they're taking pictures and videos. And then one of the sadhus goes, are you on Instagram? I'm thinking, who knew the sadhus were on Instagram and Facebook? And then they're like totally like, come have coffee with us. So we went to their tent and they were making us fresh coffee. It was delicious. They were teaching us spiritual stuff. And we sat with, it was amazing, actually. They sat with them for, I don't know, a couple hours. And it was so, just the stuff that they were saying and the vibration. And then they invited us back for dinner that night. So it was like, wow, like they totally invited us back for dinner. So we had a full day. So when we walked away, we were so elevated in vibration because, their vibration. And, we were going through our day doing different things. And so that's how you start shifting and opening new doorways to your own vibration, is interacting with these things. So I had set the intention that, hopefully we could interact with the sadhu. And here it just so organically and naturally happened. And now we're friends with them. Like they
still call me on Facebook.
We were in Bimini, and one of them called, FaceTimed us, Facebook. It was a video.
Yeah.
I got a message the other day from one of them, and we're just like in constant contact with them. So it's just amazing how your world can expand and the things that you can experience because you choose, you're intentional, and you put yourself into the vibrations of where things could happen and believe anything's possible. Just like when we experience all the aliens and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it's because it's the way we live. It's the experiences we love that we can have these crazy, amazing things happen. Okay. So, that was just some ideas of different ways to experience alternate realities. Who knows, you might have experienced things yourself, but now that you understand a little pickings of different ways that can happen, you guys are open to experiencing it. So, you want to be really intentional about what kind of energies you align with, because you want to make sure if you're going to experience alternate realities, you're going to experience ones that you love, not the ones that you don't particularly love, because we could see some pretty scary stuff if we wanted, and if we put our energy into that, because we can totally, like they said, this is a dual universe. If there's good, there's bad. If there's amazing, there's really bad. There's both sides of the spectrum. You can't say that you only believe there's all good. You can say anything you want. You can even create that. But we live in a world where there's a lot of all kinds of things, because there's a lot of people at all different levels. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. And some people do not care about awareness. Some people don't care about other people. Some people are bottom feeders and some people are top feeders. And that's just how it works. That's how the ecosystem works. That's how it works with animals, and that's how it works with humans.
Yeah, so it's multidimensional.
It's multidimensional, and you can experience a lot of them depending on your desire to, and your focus and alignment with what you would like to experience. So a lot of people like to go on our spiritual journeys because they know that if they come with us, there's always going to be something very unique that they're going to love and experience. So Allie Marie has a good point. She put, I'm all in. And I don't know how she knew to write that, but that is what you want to write in the chat right now. If you'd like a chance at getting a free light activation mini healing reading.
And there are some comments too.
Okay, so, but we're gonna, yes, if there's any comments we really need to answer. Yeah, suicide bombers was what I was talking about, Pocahontas. We're not gonna do too many, I mean, I don't know if there's that many questions, but we wanna get to the readings.
Just
So
two, I think.
we are going to the reading. You wanna just put in, I'm all in, if you want a chance to receive one. The focus is gonna be what you need to know right now to help raise your vibration. So, any questions, Homer, before we get into that and people are writing I'm all in?
No questions, but really quick answer, because Sansi asked this in regards to the underground people. Do they look like regular people, but just taller? Yeah. That was a quick answer, but yeah.
And Pocahontas said, the higher you vibe, the more haters you get. But let's change that belief, because who wants that? We don't want that. But yeah, a lot of people get jealous and they'll find reasons not to like you. But
and this is how easy it is. You just shift that.
You just go, oh, well, sorry for ya. I'd love to be friends, but if you don't want to, I can't make you.
And we just change it to, wow, we have so
you just
many
go
people
like this.
that
Oh, snap.
snap.
Oh, snap. And move on. Okay. Any other comments, Homer? Or can we move on?
I think we can move on.
Okay. Anita, sending you lots of loving vibes. I did see your message early on, and I've been sending you lots of love and loving vibes to clear and lift you, and know that you're a very sensitive, loving being, and you need to cut your cords, because people are trying to suck on your good energy, and you don't need that. Just say, oh, snap. Oh, snap that off.
And Pocahontas, yes, fairies do look like that, but they can look like anything.
Yeah, they can look, fairies can look in so many different ways, but I will often see fairies looking like those dots. And also see, when I was in Laguna Beach, I saw them as really tiny. That was the first time I saw them. And I was like, oh, what is that? And then I realized they were sea sprites. So when we're in Hawaii, or
Mexico, because I've seen some in Mexico.
Yeah, in Hawaii, actually, it's very common that I see the sea sprites like that with my eyes open when I'm in the water, like not under, but when I'm like my head's above the water, when we're swimming with dolphins and stuff. I see a lot of them physically. I don't even need to close my eyes. I see them physically. Lots of sea sprites.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, energies can show up anyway.
Yep.
Anyway. All righty. So let's see. I would like to call on Ali Marie O'Connor. And so we're going to focus on what you need to know to raise your vibration right now. That's a nice thing to know. So all you need to do, Ali, on Facebook, just relax. And we're going to send in some frequency to see what you need to raise your vibration. The first thing I'm seeing is some energy attached right to the back of your neck area. And it feels really heavy. And what I heard is you need to let go of other people's problems, other people's issues. You carry a lot of burden for other people. So I feel like you're the kind of person where people see a sign that's not really there, but it says, tell me all your problems. Like you're probably an empath, but I'm feeling like you take a lot of burden for other people. They come and they unload on you, and then they feel better. And then you're like, oh, your back's like holding all the pressure. So I keep hearing, let go of other people's problems. So I am clearing that from you. It's pretty deep. It's stuck right back in your neck into your upper back. And then I feel like a headache, even that it's causing a blockage in your energy. So I'm feeling like your head is suffering for that. So doing some clearing on that. What do you get, Homer?
Definitely there's something like a deep grief. Definitely an empath, able to absorb a lot of things from other people, but yeah, there's like a heaviness there that I'm feeling, and it feels like grief. Just a lot of that heaviness. But I was hearing shift your perspective, kind of like what we just gave an example. You know, when you hear something, you can change it into something that sounds better, that feels better, and I was being shown you do give a lot, so just be careful with well, find a balance because um, overgiving, you give a lot to others, but also give back to yourself equally as well. So find that balance. Learn to receive as well equally as much as you give. Mhm.
Yes. So please remember, if you would like a scan and a little healing reading, that you have to say "I'm all in the chat, so we know that you're interested in that. I'm feeling a lot of heat, so there's a lot of energies around, and I'd like to do some clearings here. Um, Yes. So I just want to, Alex, I just need to address you. He's on YouTube and he wrote a comment. Hello, I'm a Pleiadian starseed. I've been tortured by the gray aliens in my sleep a lot for a large part of my life. They tricked and deceived me at first by making me think they were also Pleiadian, and then I learned what they were really doing. So, um, yeah, you need to set your boundaries very clearly. This is not okay. So somewhere in your contract in an existence that you agreed for that connection. So you just need to set that straight. Like, no, it's not okay. No, step back. No, it's done. Okay, enough is enough. And really just put your boundaries up, because that is causing problems. So sending you lots of love and light right now. Okay, Homer, do you want to pick someone who said I'm all in?
I just want to say that there are many aliens too of love and light. So, um, you know what we were saying, raise your vibration and you will also have these experiences with them.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
can call on the ones that are of the light as
Mhm.
well. Remember, you have free will, so you need to be the one that calls the shots. So you can ask the light to help as well, but you have to give the light permission.
See, I know a lot of gray aliens too, but I work only of the gray aliens of the light. Yep.
Yeah, but that doesn't, we have to tell him, meet him where he's at
Yeah.
and help him
Yes.
to know how he can shift that if he wants to, and it
Mhm.
looks like he wants to. So remember, you have to ask for, and everybody here, if you want help from angels, you need to give them permission. They can help you as far
Mhm.
as they can help, but they can help you all the way when you give them permission. Even God, you have free will. You have to be the one to give permission, ask for help. So remember that, because sometimes people don't even know or remember that they
Yep.
have to give permission.
Mhm.
Okay? You have to give permission, and you have to set boundaries, and you have the right to do any of those things. Okay, sending
Yes,
lots of
Allison,
light.
yes. Ask permission. Yes.
Okay, Homer, did you want to pick somebody that says I'm all in?
Yeah, how about, and I don't know if you did say you're all in, but Clarissa Jackson.
Did she say it? You have to know if she said it. I don't think that she said it.
Clarissa, do you want one? Do you want?
Why are you doing that, Homer? Pick somebody that says I'm all in.
Okay.
We're not
Let's
here to
see.
convince anybody to do anything.
How about, did we do Faye Thomas?
You pick who said, I'm all in. Choose who you want to do. We only
Okay.
did so far. We only did one.
Okay. How about Faye Thomas?
Okay.
Faye Thomas.
Whew, that's getting difficult. Let's clear the energy here. Woo, baby. Okay.
I need a new pen too. Okay.
Okay. It's really steamy.
I know that's what happens. We feel the temperature.
Well, I'm feeling a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, sending lots of light through the chat, wherever you may be. Okay, so Faye Thomas, what you need to know to raise your vibration. Phew, that felt good to do that clearing.
Mhm.
I'm ready to go to the beach right now. And it's there. Okay. What you need to do, Faye, to raise your vibration. Let go of the past.
Yeah.
I'm being shown a ball and chain on your leg that keeps you anchored in what was and also keeps you anchored in what you don't like. So if you've been here to watch this whole segment, we spoke about how you would could change if you didn't like how things were. You have the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to change it right now. And this is my new rules of my life. This is how my reality is going to roll right now. So if you didn't see this whole segment, I would go back and watch the recording. But yeah, let's cut that ball and chain and set you free. That's also on your right side, so that's your giving side. So your ability to do what you need to do to step forward and give more of who you are. And I'm not talking about like giving yourself all the time, but giving your gifts, sharing your gifts, doing what you're here, your purpose, what you're meant to do, which is going to raise your vibration because you're going to feel really happy with your alignment. Whenever you're in your alignment, you're always going to feel better. So that's what's going to help you feel better, is to get in a better alignment with what you really want and who you really want to be in this world, and start stepping forward with faith, trust, and belief that you can. Homer?
Yeah, similar things. Faye, let go of the past, and also, I was feeling the same thing. You keep yourself held back more than anyone else. So I was feeling it in the third chakra. Um, so did a clearing on that, but also, and again with the theme that we're doing tonight with alternate realities shift. So use your third eye, your clairvoyance, visualize what you want, and then add the emotion and the feeling to it. So not only see it, but then feel it as well, whatever you want to bring into your life. And also, ask your angels for help too. They are there to help you. If you don't ask them, they will not be able to help. So ask. Fairies too. You could ask them too.
Ask and you shall receive.
Ask. Yep.
If you believe it, you can see it.
Energy follows thought.
Beliefs are
Ding.
really a thing.
It is.
What
Yeah.
you believe is right. What you
Hmm.
believe is right for you. I don't know if it's right for you, it's true for you. I don't know if it's right for you, but it's true for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Who else said I'm all in around here? So, Sansi Array. Here we go. What you need to do to raise your vibration. What you need to know to raise your vibration. Sansi. So, what I'm seeing is opening up a whole new identity. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Create a new identity. Not to say that what you are is bad, but it's time to create a whole new identity. And that's super exciting. Like, if you could create a whole new identity, what would it be? How would you feel? What would you be doing? How would you be proceeding in your life? Where would you see yourself? This is where your angels are asking you to focus right now, because they need your help. They're like, give us something, give us something. So it's not about, remember, when you're asking and changing things, you want to do it with a sense of, I can ask because I can. And I know when I ask, it is done. So it's not like, please do this, please do that. You want to say, thank you for this and thank you for that. And that feels so good. And that makes me so happy. And thank you because I love feeling like this. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, this is so good. This feels so good just to be even talking about it. And that's what they're showing me. Like, take the chains off your wrists, like drop them, and give yourself the relief that you want by simply thinking it into your reality. Homer?
Same thing. For Sansi, I kept hearing feed the positive, like focus, put your um, energy and thought more into the positive or higher dimension. And also build your new paradigm. You can create a new beginning, a new version of you of higher vibration. And it's kind of like the blueprint. Really, start being creative and be magical about it, and just see what the universe, it's all about expansion. um, for me it's magical, so be as magical as you can um, when creating the new you, and just tap into that vibration, because when you're magical it just feels good and it feels happy and like fantasy like, and knowing there's no limitations, and just even how silly it may sound or look, go for it if it feels right for you.
Yeah, so Sunsi, right now, like if you could see what magic looked like. So for me, it might look like if I went like this, like all these like twinkling stars, like whoo, like magic. And I can really feel that energy when I do that, like, oh, magic. And it's just like all dropping around me. And pretty soon because I'm doing this, I'm putting tons of sparkly, beautiful magic into my aura. And I'm like, okay, now that I'm full of this magic, what do I want to create? And just feel that magical energy just flowing from your hands, and create with your third eye, like by imagining, visualizing, like, wow, how beautiful and amazing to be having this thing. And thank you for that. That looks so magical. It looks so amazing. And just doing that, the universe is already shifting your energy. So you have that ability. Just bring in the magic. Like, if you say it and you can imagine it, you're doing it. So it's a beautiful thing. Okay, Homer, did you find someone who said I'm all in?
I did see Clarissa say she's all in, so
You really
Clarissa's
like Clarissa today. Okay, I'm glad she said it for you.
Hello and welcome.
Okay, here we go. We're going to send in the frequency. And ow, I'm getting a pain right here.
Oh,
All of a sudden. What you need to know to raise your vibration, like there is a stuck energy right there on the back of your neck on the right side. And what I'm hearing is it causes a lot of stubbornness in your thought and in your belief. And then I hear that you have a lot of very strong beliefs that you claim as your truths. And there's nothing wrong with that because we all have it. But what I'm hearing from your guides is it's important for you to choose. If you're going to have that much conviction and declaration, to make sure you're choosing what feels best. Because if it isn't, you are manifesting big time whatever your conviction and declaration is. So make sure you're using that in the most positive ways. So we're clearing that. And yeah, your word is very powerful. What comes out of your mouth and what you believe and claim to be true, you want to make sure that those are things you really want to see and feel and experience. Because if they're anything lower than that, you're manifesting that for yourself, and you may not want to do that. So raise your vibration by choosing higher, good feeling thoughts and imagining better good feeling situations. Homer?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, your throat chakra. I was drawn to that because it was a very strong blue. So yeah, your whatever you say can become a reality. But yeah, keep it high vibration as much as you can. So what I was getting is also, and we mentioned this before, but being around water or like being in the shower or bathtub or swimming pool or whatever, just being in water, you know, because you do have that ability where you could create things really fast, but also like what you think can get created really fast. But I was just getting the image of being in the water, and also when you're in the water, just do your best to keep those thoughts and emotions on the higher vibration. Because water will just amplify anything. So if it's of lower vibration, it will amplify that. So just yeah, keep it on the high.
Yeah, so Clarissa says I have arthritis in my neck. Wow, because that was the first thing.
Ooh,
And
I know. I was feeling.
I'm actually feeling pain in your head,
Yep.
and really working on clearing that. And so when you have something like that, it is a sign of having some stuckness in your life and being really stubborn with the stuckness. I mean, if you think about what arthritis is and what that feels like, you know what the emotion is that matches that. So loosen up, like loosen up the way you think, loosen up how you believe. Like, and not that what you're thinking and believing is wrong, but I feel like if you loosen up with it, like if you just say, you know what, I'm not going to have such a strong belief about that unless it's a strong belief that feels really good. Like, I'm flowing. I feel good.
Mhm.
Life is good. I'm treated fairly. I'm supported. Like those kind of things would be really, as I'm saying that, I'm feeling going up your back, especially on the right side. It's starting to trigger when I was saying that. I'm supported. I feel good. My life is flowing. Things are working out for me. And it's like your body retaliating, saying, no, it's not. No, it's not. So you need to have a conversation with your body and tell it, like, I love you. You are supported. I support you. You're beautiful. You don't want to say anything negative to your body or to yourself at all, but you definitely want to tell your body, like, if your
Mhm.
neck is in pain, you know what? Thank you. I love you. I want you to know I'm sending you my love and tenderness, and just feel love and tenderness going through your fingers and just putting it in that place where it's hurting. Like that's what I do when I feel something in pain. I just put my hand right there and send in love energy and light and tell it, I love you. I'm soothing you. You're special. You're amazing. And start doing that with your body, because your body is yelling at you for it wants attention. You know how a kid, when it's not getting the attention and the love that it needs, they'll start throwing a fit and doing negative things because it's trying to get your attention, even if it's negative attention. So you wouldn't say, shut up and get the hell out of here. Now, some people would, but that's not the best thing to do. And then that kid will just keep doing that more and more. So you don't want to say to your body, oh, I'm so sick of you. You're always hurting me. I can't do anything. I've got a sick body, whatever. I don't know if you're saying what you're saying, but you want to say loving things and you want to soothe yourself, be really
Mhm.
calm and put your hand there and love yourself. Love your pain. Love it. Not like you want it to be painful, but send love to the pain and send
Mhm.
it soothing energy. And
She
she
said,
says,
"Wow,
wow,
it is my back right side."
it's on
Yeah.
my back. Yeah, I could
And
feel it.
also, I've been feeling it in the legs and down to the feet. It's like I had to clear that and to loosen it because
Yeah.
it just
So
felt really stuck,
when I was saying those words, it was triggering your back like, oh, hell no. Like it believes completely the opposite. So
like a resistance.
you need to spend some time with your body, loving it and
Yeah.
telling it it is beautiful and you are grateful that it is your home. It is your paradise. You got to love yourself up, especially your physical body. And when you do that, it's going to start loving you back, and it's going to start supporting you more. You know, what you put out, it will be given back to you. So you got to take the lead on that.
It's like your temple, and honor your body, love it.
Yeah. Every time you feel that pain, just be really gentle and say, I love you. I love you.
Mhm.
Seriously, that's a thing. So
But
thank
we were clearing all that.
you.
Yep.
Whew,
Thank
I'm so
you.
hot. Okay. Homer, what's up for Friday? You know, my days are so weird. Yesterday was Monday. I thought it was Friday. Today was Tuesday, and I thought it was Saturday. So
I know, my dad too. I had to remind him. He was like, "What day it is? What day is it?" I
I thought
said,
it was
"I
Saturday.
don't even know myself."
I was
Um,
like waking up, and I was like, I need to go to the store to get breakfast because Saturday. I'm going to make a good breakfast this morning. And then I don't know. All of a sudden, I came back to reality, and I said,
okay.
it's Tuesday. We ain't going to the store to get nothing. Get up. Okay.
Now,
What?
our topic for Friday, we have several options. Either ayahuasca part 2,
I
um,
hope.
or past life and parallel lives.
Okay. So it'll be one of those two things.
If it's ayahuasca, that's in the past life. No, just kidding.
Right. Past lives and parallel lives. That
Yeah.
gets fun because you know what? With past life and parallel lives, and I personally don't believe past lives because I believe everything's happening
Yeah.
at the same time. I believe parallel lives.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of lives all at the same time. So guess what? You could be like this, like super cool, whatever. And not that you're not super cool in this life. Of course you are. But there may be another lifetime where you have
Yes.
exactly what you want in this lifetime, and you can access that vibration and
And
harness
you
it.
see the magic, and it's like adventure, adventure, adventure.
Yeah.
But also, I am here too on this earth, so I have to, live this life too. But all those, other lifetimes, wow, it's
Yeah,
exciting.
it just gets fun because
It
all
does.
of these, like even alternate realities, that is also like parallel lives and things like that. All have it's parallel dimensions or multi dimensions, kind of, the same philosophy almost, but not. But not. But what we're doing is exposing you to more and more and more of this amazing universe, and you're just expanding and
You're
growing.
expanding your
You
consciousness.
are in
That's
your
what we're doing.
awareness. So
Yeah.
you'll be very, very even more powerful beings than you already are. So let's
Yes.
see. Delia said the multiverses verse lives they can leak and we can see so much and get murky at times. That too.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we can also just go for the high road and
Yes.
see the goody,
And
good,
Allison said she's been getting hairline memories, tiny slices.
cool.
A slice is good, especially if
Slice
it's pie.
of cake. Oh, Homer's birthday
Oh,
is in 2 days. So happy birthday,
thank
Homer.
you. And that's a parallel life. No.
Yeah. So that's always exciting.
Yeah.
He loves cake. Homer,
Mhm.
what kind of cake are you going to order?
Trees, leeches.
What
That's
kind?
my nickname. You could say the real
He
name.
calls it trees leeches. It's
Yeah.
tres leche, but he calls it trees leeches.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
And Homer loves cake,
Mm.
so I think there's a cake in his future in 2 days.
Yes.
And so that's
I am
exciting.
creating that in my alternate universe, but I'm gonna bring it in.
Yeah, and that's actually my favorite cake too.
And I'm gonna share it with all of you etherically.
I can taste it right now.
Should I say my age?
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh,
Mm,
would you?
I would.
He was 24 for many
No,
years.
23 for
Oh,
how many?
23.
I will be 49.
Wow, that's a big deal. He would never say his age for so
And the
long.
thing is, I'm still doing Tahitian dancing and like as if I'm
Oh,
in my
you're so
20s.
old, Homer. 49. Oh my gosh.
Dang. And I
So
do
we're
dye my
gonna,
hair.
and then last night in Cindy's Insiders Club, I was saying next year for my birthday, it's a big birthday. So we're hoping to be celebrating in Mexico.
Yay. We're going to have a
Ada,
fiesta.
and yeah, we're gonna have a fiesta and
Yeah.
mariachis, and it's gonna be
I'm
fun.
going to be swinging with to get that piñata.
Yeah, I can hardly wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the birthday wishes, too.
yeah, and then I guess that's it. I think we should probably go. I
And
was gonna,
thank you for joining us.
of course, thank you for joining us. Sanse said, I did a love meditation thanking every single organ, skin, cells, etc. It was amazing, and I have felt better since. Great. Keep doing that.
Yeah. That's good advice for everybody.
That's lovely. I have those free meditations that I posted in one of the segments. So I don't know if anybody checked those out, but those are really good. And yeah, if you want to see those, they're on, well, it's probably not that easy to find, but I guess you could show it for the next segment and ask for them if you want. And then I will put the links again. So please, everybody, if you wouldn't mind liking, thank you for your commenting, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All those things really help us, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you for being here. Thank you so
You.
much. And we'll see you Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, or wherever you fall in your time zone. And we look forward to seeing you soon. My
And
birthday's in
thank
March,
you. In March.
and I will be 60.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's enough of that
And
discussion.
thank you for the kind comments, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lots of love and light.
I'll
See
be a
you.
year older next time I see you.
Yes. Next time you see him, he'll be aged to
Yeah.
another fine year of
I
49.
need some Botox. No, just kidding.
Okay. Love you guys.
Bye, you guys. Thank you.